Gabe, we're entering week 12 now. We've gone through this many times. Trade deadlines upon us, teams choosing directions. CMC, back in the ways of being a hammer. CMC or Chase Brown, Trey Benson, and a 2025 third in a 12-team start 11 league.
Ooh, give me Christian McCaffrey.
It's probably going to be Christian McCaffrey. Let's talk about it.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Hello. Welcome on in. My name's Ty at Ty Declare 44. That's Gabe at iGabe_FF. And you are now joining a new episode of the ALLGAS Trade Show. Welcome on in, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope this episode finds you in a great place on your Saturday. That's Gabe. We got a show full of trades for the people. And
Yes,
like I said, we're in a very do or die time in fantasy football. So how are you doing, my friend? And how excited are you for today's episode?
I'm super excited, man. And I'm just like the people right now. I'm trying to navigate the fantasy streets right now with these rosters that are trying to contend, man. And the ones that are not contending, we're shipping off some of these old veterans. So that's what we got cooking up right now.
Yes, sir. I think so. We're talking trades all the time over in DD Fantasy Football. So if you want to be part of the crew, part of the crew, head on over to ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code TRADES to get in the door for the all-conference tier. Get 50% off at sign up. If you want to be a part of the GOAT tier, get access to every single thing DD has to offer. Trinity, War Machine, bonus shows, podcast feed, Gabe in your living room, whatever you want. ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code TRADE GOATS, 50% off the GOAT tier. And we can't forget about Underdog. Our friends over at Underdog. Use code ALLGAS. Get up to 1,000 in bonus cash and sign up at underdog.com. Gabe, yeah, we talked about this one. There's a little bit more context to it. It is a three running back league, PPR 0.1 point per carry as well.
Yeah.
You failed me, thought a long time before accepting this. They chalked it up to pure artificial dynasty value, or ADV. You know, they feel like Chase Brown is scoring like CMC, which he has been. He's been scoring very well for your fantasy teams, catching a lot of balls, scoring a lot of points. On a bye this week, Trey Benson, talk about a hopium play. Like, so far, that's really been it for him. A 25 third, but you get Christian McCaffrey. It feels like people were just trying to get rid of Christian McCaffrey for anything, for a couple weeks ago, especially when we're waiting for the Achilles tendonitis to clear up. But now it looks like Christian McCaffrey's getting his full freight back in the trade streets, and I truly can't blame him. Looking at this, a start 3 running back league, yeah, it's great to have depth, great to have multiple running backs, but I'm going to go CMC here, even though Chase Brown is smashing, and I don't mind getting a 3-for-1 for CMC.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. And I think had it been anything maybe a little bit better than Trey Benson in a third, maybe if that's a second, then we might have a different conversation. Again, start 11. So depth is a little important, man, especially in that. And again, if you're getting similar production from Chase Brown to Christian McCaffrey, it seems like that would be kind of the obvious choice, but I want the guy that's just done it consecutively in and out every single year. And I feel like right now you're getting a little bit of a discount, if you will, on Christian McCaffrey because he just hasn't played. This past game he was back and it wasn't like incredible, but it wasn't bad either. Like, it was actually, he was fine. Like, he was just fine. I think right now he hasn't scored any touchdowns, which I feel like is really the biggest downside, if you will, to what his fantasy points have been right over the last week or so. And so as soon as he starts scoring touchdowns, he's going to be vaulted right back up, man. If you add a touchdown to his last week, I think he's at like 20 something points, which for your running back, you want that every single day. Right. And so he's right there. And Trey Benson in a third really doesn't really do anything for me. Those are pieces that you're hoping you never have to start, even in a start 11. And so just 1-for-1, I want Christian McCaffrey over Chase Brown.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of Chase Brown's recent usage, and it's honestly great. Like looking at percentages wise, like over, he had 79% of the snaps week 9, and he's had 88 and 82% of the snaps weeks 10 and 11. Getting over 87% of the rush attempts the last 3 weeks. Gabe, if I told you that Chase Brown ran 45 routes in week 10, would you believe me? 45 routes. Would you believe me?
That's insane, man.
pretty insane. 10 targets on those 45 routes. I mean, again, the dude's putting up numbers like three top 10 weeks the last 3 weeks. It's been awesome. But, let's head on over to San Francisco here. And, I thought last week, or like week 10, Christian McCaffrey, having 89% of the snaps, 68% of the rush attempts, 79% of the routes. I thought that was awesome. He just followed that up with another 53 snap game, an 18 rush attempt game, and a 30 route game again. So he might be running like a few less routes, but like you said, the touchdowns aren't there yet. And looking across the team, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, Patrick Taylor, whoever you want to put back there, nothing happening behind CMC. So it's a CMC show again. We know now that Purdy is out this week. I could just see Christian McCaffrey having a big week and probably a big finish to the season if the San Francisco 49ers stay competitive in the NFL landscape. Gabe, let me ask you, are you scared at all of San Francisco packing it in, CMC making business decisions as we gear up for the fantasy playoffs?
I mean, I feel like that's in the back of everybody's mind a little bit. But, sometimes in fantasy football, Ty, we got to take risks, and sometimes we have to swing for the fences. And I feel like Christian McCaffrey is a guy that's worth taking the risk on and swinging for the fences. I am a little concerned, though, that, that is a possibility, right? They hold out. If they lose this week, there is a chance that it's the playoff picture for them is very, very thin. And so it gets to the point where it's like, do we bring Purdy back? Do we rush him back? Do we wait till he's 100% healthy? And I know it's not a serious injury, but a lot of the times these players play through injuries, right? And so if you know that your chances are slim to none to make the playoffs, then there is a realistic possibility that they just hold him out and basically just say, let's just move it to next year. Now, again, Christian McCaffrey just came back, so his body's probably in great shape. So I don't think they hold him out, man, if I'm being completely honest. I just think he's he doesn't come off like the type of player to just sit back when things aren't going their way. Like, he's one of the captains of that team. And so I feel like he's going to go out there and give it his all every week that they're playing.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you, even if they're out of contention. While there might not be the need to go out there and, put your neck on the line, I just think, football players are built different. And my motivations probably aren't the same as a Christian McCaffrey's. So I don't mind getting on this. And even just looking at the upcoming schedule, Gabe. So Cincinnati, they're on their bye this week. Then they're at home at Pittsburgh, at Dallas, at Tennessee, at home for Cleveland, and then they end their season at home against Denver. So I don't love that 16-17. I can get with the middle part there, but if we're looking at San Francisco, this week they're playing Green Bay, then they play at Buffalo, at home against Chicago, at home against the Rams, and then at Miami and at home against Detroit for the last game. So I love that Miami, that week 17 showdown against Detroit. If I'm making a bet right now, I might as well play. I remember Ray talking about it in Underdog, and I know it probably didn't originate with Ray, but Ray is what sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
You draft like you're right. You play like you're right. And if I'm getting Christian McCaffrey, I'm betting that my team is going to be right and I'm going to be right. That Christian McCaffrey is what puts me over the edge, and I want that playoff matchup for CMC. So give me CMC.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, even on those competitive games that are a little bit more difficult, I mean, he's an incredible pass catcher. And so if for whatever reason they do fall behind, he still is going to get targets. I mean, he's going to be very involved, whether it doesn't really matter the game script, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like if they're down, he's going to be one of the main, beneficiaries of that. If they're up, he's going to be one of the main beneficiaries of that as well. So I feel like he's kind of one of those guys that not necessarily is matchup proof, if you will, but he is going to tote the rock regardless of the situation.
Yeah, I gotcha. And like I said, you failed me. Feels CMC is a less fragile asset than Brown moving forward. Feels like Brown's at his ceiling. CMC has some more room, some more runway here. So I can get behind all that. I think if I'm rolling the next season, I'll probably still feel the same way about CMC until he's not playing. So just give me CMC. I'll give up the nice Chase Brown weeks that I had, and Benson and a third will get it done.
Yep. Agreed.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. We'll start at the top here. We got Carl WC. They're shedding points. They're only 60 points away from the 101, Gabe. So we're in a couple of these situations. Get points off the roster. 10 team. Start 9. No tight end premium. Keep pounding. Gets into Chris Godwin, Eric All, and a 2027 second. sends away Gus Edwards, Tucker Kraft, and Ricky Pearsall. So, Gabe, Ricky Pearsall, you bought him for a second at the rookie draft. You're probably still hoping you can get a second for him today.
Yep.
Eric All, busted ACL. Chris Godwin, dislocated ankle. 27 second, 14 years away. Gus Edwards back, but behind a J.K. Dobbins, and who knows where Vidal wraps up there. And then you have Tucker Kraft. Gabe, I'll say not a lot of like needle moving assets in the deal, but
yeah.
I mean, if I'm rebuilding and I get into Godwin, Eric All, who had a mark before he was hurt, and I can ship points off my roster, that pretty much works for me.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. I think if you add the 101 and the 102 on each of the respective sides, I mean, you're making this deal 10 out of 10 times just to get that 101. And so, again, I actually think Chris Godwin is much more valuable than Gus Edwards and Ricky Pearsall, right? I would take Chris Godwin over those two assets, and so Tucker Kraft for Eric All in a second. I mean, in a non-tight end premium, it's fine. Like, you probably want Tucker Kraft, but again, in a non-tight end premium league, like, I can stomach that. And you're giving me, again, a higher possibility of getting the 101. I'll just take my chances with that and give me Chris Godwin and the second and Eric All.
Yeah. From a competing standpoint, I mean, getting to Edwards, Kraft, and Pearsall probably shouldn't, make me feel a certain way, but
yeah,
you're
especially in a start 9, right?
A 10-team start 9, Gabe. Like
10-team start. Yeah, I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
If you're starting these guys, you're already up, up the creek without a paddle, if you will.
Yeah, there's no paddle in sight. Keep pounding. You got this, but we don't got to spend too much time on that one.
Yep.
That ginger dude, 12 teams, start 9, 1 quarterback, PPR, no other bonuses. Your man, Nico Collins, being acquired for Rashee Rice and Tyrone Tracy. Speaking of running backs with trying to gauge future value, Tracy's an interesting one. I think he just falls in that bucket of who knows, and he is what he is for you right now. Rashee Rice, the insulated wide receiver dynasty value master, and then Nico Collins. Gabe, I know you were watching on Monday night, and we both saw Nico Collins go take that screen pass to the house. We're like, let's go, we're back.
Yep. And
then it got called back. And then he only had 4 receptions the rest of the game. It's like, oh. Okay.
Yeah,
but you saw it, you felt it. I just need that Nico Collins. He looks different out there. He's a different maker.
I was jumping out of out of the sofa there.
Oh yeah. But again, 12 teams start 9, 1 quarterback, Gabe. Are we going hammer hunting with Collins, or are we gonna a nice package with Rice and Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good deal kind of either way. I really like Tyrone Tracy, especially everything that he's done. To your point, he's a guy that you're just gonna take it for what it is, right? He's producing up until the point that he may not produce, right? But you're just going to keep enjoying that ride and that roller coaster. And he's been very, very good. So I definitely don't want to take anything away. Now with the cutting of Daniel Jones, who knows, man? They actually may lean on him a little bit more because now you got Tommy Cutlets back there, and we've seen that experiment before, and you just never know, right? So I do believe that Tyrone Tracy could actually get a little bit more work in this offense now that Daniel Jones isn't there. But again, man, we've seen a lot of trades with Rashee Rice. I like Rashee Rice a lot, but the reality is that he's probably not going to play until mid 2025 as like a higher elite producer, right? And so for what that's worth, I just want Nico Collins, man. I mean, right now, maybe it's a buy a low opportunity for Nico Collins because he didn't have a great game. But had he scored that 75-yard touchdown tie, this is a completely different conversation. And so it's just one of those things where I feel like this is a really good opportunity to acquire somebody like Nico Collins. And I feel like right now in this package, you're giving up some nice pieces, some nice name value pieces. But the reality is that the production, I mean, Nico Collins could outproduce these guys for sure.
I mean, I'm just looking at the Trinity right now, and yeah, like Rashee Rice only had a couple games. Nico Collins has only been back for a couple games, right? So it's a bit of a limited sample size, but Rashee Rice, 16.48 points per game. Trinity score is 6.77. Again, leader in the clubhouse in Kansas City when he was healthy for sure. Nico Collins, 7.94, 19 points per game. That part of those games with Diggs, with Dell, with everything now coming back. I just think Nico Collins is in a different tier. Tyrone Tracy, tell me if I'm wrong, but never going to be a guy that you can get a liquid first for, right? Like you're looking second plus, if that. Rashee Rice, you probably want a 25 first. If we're going pure math and pick adding up, I mean, I just don't think it adds up on the Rice side to get to a Nico Collins, especially in like a 12-by-9 kind of league, very shallow, right? So give me Collins here. But again, Rice, Tracy, it's nice. If you can do something with that, I'm here for it. But I think I'm just going to lean Collins.
Yeah. And honestly, I was going to ask, so DeAndre Hopkins, right, is in Kansas City now. And so I don't know. We obviously don't know if he'll be there next year. But hypothetically, he is. Do you think Rashee Rice still gets the amount of volume that he's getting right now with DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and everybody else there? Obviously, this is a hypothetical, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if we could say the same question about Juju Smith-Schuster the first week that Rice was out too, and he looked good too, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, it does feel like they're replacing the Rashee Rice role versus Rashee Rice being replaced in the offense. Again, Rice has his legal troubles to get through and suspension stuff that'll probably come down the pipeline as well, right? So I think that Rice does retain his role. I think he is what we saw that he was, and I think he'll continue to be that. But even with what that is, I'm still going to lean Collins in that case, yeah.
Yeah, just had to ask again because, I mean, obviously a lot of pieces have been added to this offense now, and again, this offense is humming without Rashee Rice right now, and so, you know, just wanted to pick your brain there for a second.
You just got to ask the questions. I mean, hey, Tyrone Tracy might start for a quarterback for the New York Giants to end the season, so maybe there's some super flex points there in a one quarterback league. But yeah, good deal that Ginger dude. Way to get into the hammer there. Raffy Bombs, 12 team, start 10, 6-point passing touchdown. They're in first place with Baker as their other quarterback. They acquired Jalen Hurts here to stack up with A.J. Brown.
Ooh.
So, getting into Jalen Hurts, sending away Patrick Mahomes, a 2025 first and a 2026 second. Gabe, again, they're sending away their own first. They're in first place. So, you know, assuming a late first, are you adding a first and a 26 second onto Patrick Mahomes to get up to Jalen Hurts?
Man, this is spicy right here. This is definitely spicy. You're stacking with AJ Brown, so that's a hell of a stack there. I mean, having AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. I don't love this, but I also don't hate this. If I'm being completely honest with you, I mean, Jalen Hurts has very, very handedly outscored Patrick Mahomes this season, and so, I mean, Ty, you can make the case, man. I kind of, again, I don't love it being that it's a late first, like a really late first, and if that's the 112, I kind of want Jalen Hurts, man.
I mean, I get it. I get it. You know me, I have a lot of Jalen Hurts in Dynasty still.
I was going to say, don't let me down now.
No, I've sent him away. I'll say this at the start. I don't care about stacking with my wide receiver. Yeah, it's great to have, you know, the elite wide receiver, and it's great to have, and that stack is great to have, especially in line. It just doesn't matter to me. Like if I'm stacking my tight end, I can squint and figure that out. But that stack, it doesn't move me one way or the other in this deal. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, great for NFL, hasn't been overly stellar for fantasy football, right? Yep. But we have seen, right, now that Kansas City's gotten to a couple of closer games, teams have pushed that offense into scoring. And with that, there has been some better weeks for Patrick Mahomes. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But
yeah, 100%.
You know, so Mahomes is still a very well insulated dynasty asset. He's safe. He's safe. Hurts definitely has the rushing upside and that to it. But you're giving me a first and a second in 2026. The first is probably late. Yep. And Raffy Bombs is pushing all the way in, getting the hammer. So I really can't fault you for getting a hammer. In a 6-point passing touchdown league, you know, if I'm playing Dynasty, and I don't play like the future value game like I used to, Gabe, but I feel like Patrick Mahomes, a first and a 26 second, I can make it work with that.
Yeah.
And I might not get the best asset in the deal, but I'm very happy to take Mahomes a first and a 26 second. If that was Josh Allen, if that was Lamar Jackson, I'm probably going Josh Allen in that side of it. But I just don't think I'm putting that weight behind Jalen Hurts right here, right now, especially if the main motivating factor was just to stack up A.J. Brown. But that's not how I read this. But yeah, tell me I'm wrong, Gabe.
I mean, I mentioned at the very beginning when I looked at this, I said, I think this is a really good deal, spicy deal, right? Yeah. Because I definitely can see this both ways. My thing is this, right? If you're wanting to win a championship, Jalen Hurts right now on average is scoring 7 to 8 points more a week than Patrick Mahomes. That's a big difference. You know what I mean? Like that could very well be the difference between you winning a championship and you losing a championship. And right now, Jalen Hurts on the season is quarterback 3. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback 14. And so while he's had some better games as of late, again, man, I mean, one is doing it right now. And the other one, well, he's doing it sometimes, if you will. And you're right. There's a lot of insulation with Patrick Mahomes, but we've talked about it before, man. We play this game now in smaller windows. I don't care who's going to be the more, valuable asset in 5 years from now. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. And so if this deal essentially takes me over the top and can really make that pick, as late as it can possibly be, and I win a championship, I feel like that is worth doing, if you will. And so I can see this from both ways. I really believe that if you need more points, to your point, we're in point scoring season right now, man. Jalen Hurts is going to give you more points, and it's not just marginals, it's not just, it's a big difference. Right. And so for me, that's where I can make the case. And I feel like, Ty, I think to your point, if this was Lamar, Josh Allen, I feel like Jalen Hurts gets you closer to being able to acquire an asset like that. Like if you're a Josh Allen owner, are you going to take Patrick Mahomes? Like, are you wanting to tear down to from Josh Allen to Patrick Mahomes with the landscape and how people view Patrick Mahomes right now outside of a ludicrous offer?
Yeah, it would really depend on the plus, right? But
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
No, I think Jalen Hurts is probably a tier under that. And so I feel like if that is your goal, I feel like you can get a more attainable player like Josh Allen, or a more unattainable player like Josh Allen with a Jalen Hurts than you can with a Patrick Mahomes. I mean, dude, 3 weeks ago, people did not want to touch Patrick Mahomes with a 10-foot pole. I mean, again, I think this is a good deal both ways, but
I think it's a really good deal. I think you nailed it though. If you win the championship, you don't care. This is a great deal.
Yep.
My fear is you come a step short, and then you've nuked your pick, and you've nuked away it. But you got a Hurts. That's great. But just how are you going to feel if you don't win? And that's what I want to look at. But I'm looking at John Bauer's Dynasty tiers. John Bauer, who has been one of the first people I heard this season, at least. I know he said it before, but this season talking about how Patrick Mahomes, like, not the fantasy god that he's been propped up to be.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at his fantasy tiers here, and guess who is overall Dynasty player number 4 for John?
I would imagine it's Jalen Hurts.
It's actually Patrick Mahomes.
Interesting.
Guess who Dynasty player number 5 is?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. They're both in the same tier, but both right there. So I agree with you, Gabe. Like, if I'm looking for right now the points and who's going to score me more points right now, it's going to be Jalen Hurts, right? But week over week, I'm not going to be shocked if Patrick Mahomes puts up the same number or more on a given week. But we've gone over the reasons why I'd bet Hurts more weekly. But you're giving me a first and a second on top of that. I know the way you play, Gabe. I know that you could go out and freak that first and a second as something real nice, and you're just fine rolling out Mahomes every week,
Mm-hmm.
So a very interesting one. Let us know in the comments. All right, Jalen Hurts or Mahomes, a first and a second. Where are you at in a 12-10 6-point passing touchdown league? Very interesting.
That was a great one. That was a good one, man.
That was a good one. Oh, big Diaz energy. Had to give up on the year. They were number 4 in points for, and number 2 in points against. 4 and 7. They don't have their own first. Calling it. Let me throw on the It's a little bit of heartbreak music here. Diaz, we've all been there, buddy. You know, we thought these teams were going to be great coming into the season. Injuries happen, things happen, just doesn't always go our way. But we pivot, we move on. You moved off of Tyreek Hill, James Conner, and a 2025 third, and you got into Rashee Rice, a 2026 second, and a 2026 third. So, I mean, Gabe, looking at this deal, where do your eyes go immediately when you're breaking it down?
So immediately, I would try to cross off the wide receivers. I'm going to go on a limb here and say you want Rashee Rice over Tyreek Hill. Am I incorrect on that?
That feels like a purely directional move.
Yeah.
If I need the nuke, I'll take Hill. If I'm playing the Dynasty value game, I'll re-roll Rice and just play for next season.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was at too. I mean, take your pick on your direction, and then a second and a third for Conner and a third. I mean, I don't think anybody's giving you a first for James Conner. And so could you get 2 seconds? Maybe. But just to kind of get off of the asset, I mean, I think a second is probably about what you're going to have to give up, if you will, to get James Conner. And I think if you're a selling team and you get a second for James Conner, I feel like you'd be pretty happy with that either way. So I think this is, to your point, just a directional trade. I think in a vacuum, I probably, if I need points, give me Tyreek Hill. But if I need a re-roll, I'm cool with taking Rashee Rice a second and a third. I have a couple of leagues, man, where I'm kind of down bad, just like Diaz. Got the most points for and most points against as well. So it's been rough out in the streets. And so I think this is a purely directional trade.
Yeah. We don't have specific league context for like league size or starters or things, right? So, I mean, best ball, I'll probably feel differently. Just give me Hill, Conner in the third, and like, because if I'm in best ball, like it's either I'm all the way in or not. And I mean, Rice second and third is great, but maybe I can figure something else out. But yeah, 12 by 10, 12 by 9, 12 by 11. I think, again, if I'm trying to win, yeah, I'll happily take Hill, Conner in a third. It gives you a outside shot at, scoring a lot of points. Tyreek, please. I spent a lot of draft capital on you, man, especially in Underdog.
We're begging you.
Yeah, please. Underdog.com/allgas. Go pick up some Tyreek Hill in your daily picks. I don't know. But Diaz gets into Rice second and a third. As a rebuilding team or a team trying to choose a direction, Gabe, we've said this a couple times now. If you added 106 to one side and 104 to the other, you feel a lot better. But like Diaz said, doesn't even have his own first. So we can't do that.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, man. Whenever I don't have my first, I'm super reluctant to trade off like this because
oh my God,
I don't want the other person to have my pick and me making it worse, right? And so there are some leagues, and I'll tell you guys, there are some teams, man, where it has no business having some of these veterans. But if I don't have my pick, I for damn sure am not giving you a higher draft pick. I can tell you that right now. I will do everything in my power to make it as bad as possible.
Gabe, I am so stubborn in cases like this. I'm in a league, the overreaction in 5 league with all our friends. And I've traded away my first. My team is kind of sus in there. I don't care. I'm still pushing in. Like I'm not gonna stop because I don't have my first. So yeah, it's tough when you don't have your first. But again, second and third for Conner, you're probably feeling good about that. Rice over Hill, you get the big age discount, you get insulated value, and you hope that Hill doesn't burn you or that you can do something more with the package. So pulling the trigger.
How many leagues are you in, man, where you have somebody else's pick and then you start seeing them sell off and you're just like, oh yes, I love this. Brett just did it in Knockout Kings or in Madden Curse.
Dude.
You're just like
best feeling in the world.
Exactly. And I don't want you to feel that if I'm the other player that gave you their first.
No.
Maybe that's out of spite. That's just out of spite. Don't be like me, guys. Don't be like me.
I mean, shout out to Brett too, because like he never does that. When I saw him start to sell off, I was like,
what the dog doing?
But shout out to Brett. He's a great guy, and happy that he's decided to sell off and make his pick better for me. But yeah, let's move on here. Berserker has a 16-team Superflex. Start 11 offense, start 11 defense. Gabe, are you in any IDP leagues?
I am actually not. Actually, I lie. I'm in one.
You're in one. How many starters on defense? Do you know?
I'm going to be completely honest with you, Ty. I am actually a co-manager, and I don't think I've looked at that team since the beginning of the season. So I am a terrible co-manager in that league specifically.
Excellent. I'm in 2 IDP leagues. One has 2 starters. One has 6 starters. I've never been in a start 11 league, so 16 team league as well. So this is a pretty like unique, deep, and you need context. So one side gave up Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, and a 2025 third, and the other side gave up a 2025 second. So Gabe, I mean, let's talk DeVito first and foremost. Like league format aside, well, I guess not totally aside, but let's go back to like our regular 12 team start 10. If you need a quarterback spot start, like what are you actively doing on those teams to send out an offer for Tommy DeVito?
Yeah, I mean, so what I would try to do is, again, Tommy DeVito, he's probably going to be the starter for the rest of the year outside of an injury or him just absolutely stinking it up. I don't think they go to Drew Lock, but there is always that possibility. But the reality is he's going to be a starter probably for the next couple of weeks. And so what that's worth, man, I mean, probably a third as far as draft capital. I mean, you know, somebody's probably hoping that they can get a second for you. I personally wouldn't pay a second for Tommy DeVito. What I would try to do is, so actually, Ty, I'll tell you, what I did was in a best ball league, which I think is really the place where I want to acquire a Tommy DeVito. If it's a lineup league, I'm very, very reluctant to want to buy him because if you have to start him week to week, that is scary. Yes. I mean, there might be weeks where you could have left nothing in that lineup and it might give you more points than what he's giving you because he quite literally could give you negative points. And so I only want Tommy DeVito in best ball. And so I'll say that just because then I don't have to actively worry about starting him in a lineup. And so that being said, in HVV, which is a very, again, we've talked about that league many times on here. It's a 36 team, 3 copy league, if you will. And so, 36 team total, 12 teams, 3 copies. And so either way, it's a best ball league, very, very deep rosters. And so I had Stephon Diggs on my team, and I am a competing team. I'm probably in the top 4 or 5 teams out of the 36 right now. And so I just lost Brock Purdy for the week. And so I'm actively trying to work towards getting a bye if I can. Right. And so I'm right there, like on the cusp of potentially getting a bye. And so I had Stephon Diggs on the team. He's obviously not doing anything for me. And the way that a lot of people are valuing Stephon Diggs right now, man, I mean, he's dirt, like a third if you're lucky. Nobody's giving you a second. You're
not getting a second, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you're not getting a second. You might get a third, probably not. I mean, Diggs is one of those guys right now where you have to kind of package him up, right, to get something. And so the point that I'm getting at is that Tommy DeVito is a guy that I want in best ball. And so what I did was I moved Stephon Diggs for Tommy DeVito and Brandon Allen. And I say that because I had Brock Purdy, which again, I just mentioned that I lost. And so I got 2 spot starts for the week with my Stephon Diggs, who was out for the season and is a 31-year-old wide receiver. So those are the type of deals that I would try to make. Again, just try to be a little savvy with it, right? Where you can give up a player that, you know, Brandon, for example, because that's who I made the trade with. If he holds on to that Stephon Diggs for next year, there's a possibility that he could get a second for him next year. I mean, it's just, again, that's how I would try to find a way essentially to get Tommy DeVito. Like if I'm talking straight picks, it would be a third. Otherwise, I would try to be really creative with the player to get Tommy DeVito. But I only want Tommy DeVito in best ball. I do not want him in lineup leagues.
Yeah, I don't want to have to rely on old Cutlets week over week and in lineup, but I will be happy to capture any kind of spike weeks that do happen in best ball. Yeah, just give me as many darts as I can in that case. And I mean, we're getting way off track here, but this is a great example of why if your team is out of it and you're rebuilding and you have that flexibility to be able to take on someone like a Stephon Diggs, like someone like what Brandon did, right? He took on Steph Diggs. He sent you 2 spot start quarterbacks who shouldn't really mean much to his squad at this point.
Not at all.
He'll put Diggs on IR, open up 2 roster spots, be able to go pick up 2 more guys, and hopefully do the same thing again. All right. So if you play it right, you can really maximize that. But on your end, I know you've been trying to get rid of that Diggs and you've gotten 0 interest on him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you need points, you need to make a move. You could either eat a 0 now with Purdy out and feel pretty bad about it, or get a couple darts, patch it up, go for that buy, and really try to make your squad better and hope to God that Purdy comes back.
I mean, literally that. And if not, I mean, guess what? I have Brandon Allen, so it kind of works out in a way.
There you go. Park your money
Not that
in
I'm
smart
hoping
spots,
to
right?
keep Brandon Allen on the team over Brock Purdy, but you get the gist.
Yeah. Tommy DeVito, Brandon Allen, or Patrick Mahomes, Gabe?
I mean, it's got to be Tommy Cutlets. Come on now.
Gotta be.
It's got to be Tommy Cutlets.
But yeah, Berserker, 16 teams, super flex, start 11. I feel like that second round pick's going to matter there, right? 16 team with defense included there. I can see defensive players probably going in the second and third round there, if not earlier, depending on how your league value is at or what the scoring says. So I do feel like going from a third up to the second. And look, it's the same team's pick on both sides of that hay. So Sweetest Fish is third and Sweetest Fish is second. So you're moving up at least 16 spots, guaranteed. Yep. All you have to do is pay that Tommy DeVito, who, again, he could be the same situation next year, but I'm just going to bet has no real value, and you're just moving up the draft board. So I'll take Swedish Fish as second there. But again, 16 team lineup, Gabe. Does that change your outlook at all? Where, God, if someone has a pulse at quarterback, you can probably start him in there.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, again, Tommy DeVito may not have a pulse, quite literally. So I don't,
might be a vampire. You're right.
Correct. I mean, Ty, if he plays the next 7 weeks, man, I'm telling you now, there is a week where he is going to put less points than not starting anybody. I mean, quite literally, there's probably going to be a week where he puts up negative points. And so, no, I don't, there's no world where I really want to pay a second for Tommy DeVito. And so we just went on a long tangent about when we want to acquire Tommy DeVito, and there was no mention of a second in that. And so just give me the second and I'll figure everything else out.
I mean, I'm here with you. All right, yeah. Give me the second. We'll move on. Pound the rock. 12 team start 10 superflex lineup. PPR 0.5 tight end premium. Gabe, we have a good team. Ran into some bad luck. Does that sound familiar? Because I feel like all of us can kind of pour one out for that.
Yep.
Ran into bad luck with non-median scoring league. 1 game ahead of your opponents, decided to go for pick 106, knowing if I did that, I'd be fully committed, need to avoid ties. I even got the team. I need to lose in week 12 to join in on the fun. So, Gabe, we got a couple deals here. You know what it's time for?
Oh, cue the music.
Oh, baby, it's time for some lightning round. So, once again, 12 team, start 10, superflex lineup, PPR 0.5 tight end premium. Gabe, the 2026 first or Joe Mixon?
God, I love Joe Mixon. Give me a 26 first.
Wow, I like it. Okay, getting a first for a running back. Start off strong. Yep. God, where did we go? What happened here? Okay, Gabe, 2026 first or Mike Evans?
Oh man, this one's close. I'll still take the 26 first.
All right. So we got the 2 first so far.
Yep.
Gabe, a 2025 second and a 2025 third. Brian Robinson.
Ooh. Give me the picks. Hey, if it makes my pick better, give me the picks, man. Just give me the picks.
Agreed. If I'm trying to win, I'll take B-Rod, but I feel like the picks will help you there. Kirk or Austin Eckler?
Ooh, I want Austin Eckler, but I can understand the Kirk side.
Yeah, if you're actually trying to get points off your team, get Eckler out of there. Give me anything.
Yep.
Kirk will do. But most context, I'll take Eckler, sure.
Yep.
And then Gabe, we saw the man score a couple touchdowns. Nick Chubb or a 2026 third round pick?
Ty, give me Nick Chubb, man. Come on. You can do better than a 26 third.
Something.
Exactly.
Man.
Give me something better than a 26 third for Nick Chubb. Come on, guys. Come on.
Something. All these moves happen within an hour of each other. That's dope. Again, you got a first for an aging running back, which kind of a prerequisite check. Would love for that not to be 26, but you did the thing. Mike Evans, same story. I mean, Mike Evans could be just the same thing in perpetuity, or this could be an age cliff we're coming up to that you don't want to hold on to. So move on. Brian Robinson, I like B-Rob, but I can see a second and a third in the right context, especially in this draft class coming up, Gabe, the running back renaissance coming in. All the depth we talk about. Yeah, second and a third, I can get some places there.
Yep.
Eckler and Kirk. What is Kirk at this point? But what is Eckler on a rebuilding roster? So,
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, give me something better for Nick Chubb. 4 out of 5. Pound of rock. Good work. Anything else on these deals here, Gabe?
No, I mean, again, we've talked about it. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head for all of these. I was a little hesitant, and so what I did on a lot of these is I just pictured the 106 on one side and the 107, 108 on the other side, and that's really what swayed a lot of these deals. And so, but I think a lot of them are just directional trades. Like I think they're pretty good both ways.
Yeah, the liquidation station over here. Just get rid of all
just
of it.
Not the Nick Chubb one. That one no. I definitely don't agree with.
No, but I mean the core is looking good. You got Lamar, Josh Allen, May, Bucky, Marv, G. Will, Olave, Debo, Laporta, Kincaid, your own first, second, and third, along with 3 firsts and 26. Yeah, you're going to be all right.
You know what I was just thinking? What we could have done is we probably could have packaged up Eckler and Chubb for like a Chris Godwin type.
Oh, yeah.
I would have preferred to do that than get Christian Kirk in a third for those two. Again, I mean, you could have gotten a little savvy with it, I feel like. But overall, I think it was nice. I think you did really well. I think you made out really well.
There's value in getting the deal done now, so get it done. But I would have loved that like Godwin for Eckler and Chubb. That would have been really sweet. But all good. Tommy Targaryen, 10 team, start 9, 1 quarterback, half PPR. We're transitioning to a 12x10 superflex next year, Gabe. PPR. We're changing everything. Good on this league. We're moving on. We're moving up.
They took the training wheels off.
Yep.
They're getting into the big leagues now.
Yep, absolutely. So both teams are tied at 6 and 5 for a playoff spot. Our boy just had to pounce on CD when he was available. So Tommy sent away Jonathan Taylor, Rachaad White, Tyler Goodson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Pretty good package. But he got back Josh Jacobs and CD Lamb. Gabe. We like to play the cross-off game. We know that Tyler Goodson's the best asset in the deal here. So, no, I mean, my mind goes to, like, I want to leave CD out of it for just right now. JT and Josh Jacobs. My heart says JT should be above Josh Jacobs. Mm-hmm. From a week-to-week standpoint, who's going to score more points? Is it going to be a toss-up, Gabe?
It's probably Josh Jacobs, but it's probably Josh Jacobs. I'm trying to say here. But it could be a toss-up week to week. I mean, again, I don't know, man, what to make of the Colts offense right now. Like, it's in shambles. Like, don't get me wrong, Anthony Richardson was good last week, and I get it, but it's just so volatile. It's so up and down, and I mean, you're seeing it. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he's been okay. Like, he's been fine. I think week to week, it's just going to be up and down. I think it could be either one of these guys. I think if I had to choose, it'd probably be Josh Jacobs to outscore Jonathan Taylor week to week.
Yeah, I'm looking at JB's dynasty tiers again. He's got old Jonathan Taylor at RB7, Josh Jacobs RB13. Also, just out of interest, Derrick Henry RB10, Joe Mixon RB11, Montgomery RB12, and Christian McCaffrey RB14. Very interesting. Yeah, so like I said, you're playing in the same grass, but I'm going to lean Taylor there. So I'll give the nod to Taylor. Okay. Gabe, JSN has looked dope these last couple of weeks, like been one of the top trendy scorers across the league. Are you giving up JSN, Goodson, and Rachaad White? And whatever little bit you want to keep on Jonathan Taylor from a Dynasty perspective for CD Lamb?
I mean, dude, I already bought the first class ticket. Like they're gone. Yeah, they are gone. And so what I was actually going to tell you, I just looked it up. Can you guess where Jonathan Taylor is on the season so far?
Oh Lord.
Like running back ranking.
He had a pretty mid start to the year, right? Are we talking like overall points or points per game?
Yeah, just overall points.
Overall points per game. No, overall points.
Yeah.
Gosh,
What's his running back rank right now compared to
I will
everybody else?
say RB 11.
RB 25.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah. And where do you think Josh Jacobs is?
RB 11.
RB 14. So you're close.
Okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, Josh Jacobs probably could outscore, and that just speaks to the running back position in general.
Yeah.
Who you think you should be above, or like what actually matters right now, and how many of these running backs are we truly assigning future value to, Gabe? And that's the tough part. I feel like JT maybe a little bit more, but you're kind of playing in the same water. So yeah, I'm okay even to cross it off if that's the case, if it's truly that much of a. I'm interested points per game wise versus total, but I mean, Gabe, I like JSN. Just give me CD Lamb.
Yeah,
Just
points per game,
CD
it's a lot closer. Points per game, it's a lot closer, but Josh Jacobs is still outscoring JT points per game.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me Josh Jacobs, give me CD Lamb. I'll figure it out. I think right now you're getting a little bit of a discount on CD Lamb. He's one of those guys that is normally unattainable, or you have to pay a lot for him. And right now people are just moving off of him because of the Dak injury and because Dallas is, well, not very good. Not very good, to say the least.
Yeah. I said, if you're part of the DD Discord, you might have listened to Pole Position. If you're part of the GOAT here, you probably definitely listened back to Pole Position, where we talked about moving off CD, right? And it was very specific. It needs to be in a certain tier and in a certain context. Otherwise, I'm not just moving off CD because Dak's not there anymore. This ain't the context for me to move off that. This feels like, Gabe, we're moving from a 10-team start 9 to a 12-team start 10. So gosh darn it, I need depth. I need more numbers because we're adding 2 teams and a starter. I need depth when you're still in a format that doesn't really require depth.
Let me get the backup to the one running back that I'm buying, and then let me get a guy who's actually being outtouched by Bucky Irving too. Yeah, let me just go ahead and do that. Come on now. Yeah, that's the depth that I need in my life.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly though, like, so if we look at this really quickly, and then we'll move on from this, but Surf and Turfer actually sent this offer to Tommy. And so I want to kind of put that into context because again, if you're in the DD community, I know you're not panicked on CD Lamb because you're a lot sharper than that. But people outside the community are definitely worried. And so I do think that there's opportunities to leverage trades like this where you can get into a CD Lamb for the rest of this year and for next year.
Mm-hmm. And if in any context you can add the backup to the running back and get more credit in a deal, do it. Just do it. Get the credit. I'd love to move off of Rashad White and get credit enough in the deal that I get into a CD Lamb and that. So love this deal for you, Tommy. Really do. Looks like that 6 and 5 is going to become 7 and 5 really soon. So good work. Oh, Sean, old Kittle's crew. Got a 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR, but you got a contender. And that contender is sending away CJ Stroud, Chris Olave, and Roshan Johnson. Getting into the Chargers super stack of Justin Herbert and Ladarius Ladd McConkey. Gabe, I'm going to head over to our local Houston correspondent. Gabe, are you with us?
No, man. The phone is disconnected. We actually sales have been down, Ty, so we didn't get the chance to pay the phone bill this month.
Yeah. You told me, that's so funny. Oh my God. Phone bill's down. I didn't pay it. Sorry. You told me that you going from Josh Allen, you don't even know if you want to go to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I traded you my Josh Allen and got into CJ Stroud. So that feels just great. Herbert to Stroud, Gabe. Where are you at this point?
Ty, why are you making me do this? I thought we were friends.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta put your feet to the fire. I'm contractually obligated.
I hate to say this, man, but God, Justin Herbert's been pretty good. He's been pretty good. And CJ Stroud has not been very good. I hate to admit that. It definitely pains me. I think there is a world where, again, CJ can definitely catapult. It's going to take some time. And I do think things will get better. And this is me being just a little biased here. But I do think things can get better, especially with Nico Collins coming back. I do want to preface that. Again, he's been without a lot of his best playmakers outside of Joe Mixon. He's been without a lot of his best playmakers for some time. And so it's going to take a week or so to get acclimated back into the system. Right. And again, if Nico scored that 75-yard touchdown, I think it's a little different that we're looking at this. Maybe. God, I guess I just rambled on for like 30 seconds. I guess I'll take Justin Herbert, man. But it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. That pains me to say that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree to go that way. Again, I'm looking at JB's tiers. JB's tiers is where my heart goes at this point. I mean, Justin Herbert QB8, CJ Stroud QB9. So again, you're playing in the exact same waters. It's always funny on when you're watching the NFL and the broadcasters, you can tell that they have like a note that, okay, we got to really pump CJ Stroud up. Whenever he does something good, we got to start. Like, as soon as he started making a couple passes, man, CJ Stroud looks a lot more comfortable out there. You know, he's making throws, he's accurate. Like, and then he starts to throw picks, and like, oh, okay, we're back to the same thing we've been watching this entire season.
I sent them the scripts, just FYI.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me know what's going to happen next week. So listen, if you wipe Herbert and Stroud,
yeah, just cross them off.
I mean, Lad's been great. Lad's been really great. I'm going to pull up the Trinity here really quick for old Ladarius. But I mean, Olave, Roschon. Hey, Roschon's getting run now, but like, how do you feel on the rest of this deal?
So again, cross off Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, cross them off. I mean, Chris Olave right now, he's down bad, man. You down really bad. Like, you can't get anything for him. Not a lot of people want to acquire Chris Olave, even the contending team or the rebuilding teams. Sorry. And so Roschon Johnson, sure, he's getting some more touches. It's still DeAndre Swift, man. It's still DeAndre Swift in that team. And so I'll take Ladd McConkey and Justin Herbert. Like, just give me that, and I can figure everything else out. I think you're getting the better receiver, and you're getting the better quarterback. Now, please delete this.
I just delete this. No, this is going on public record, buddy. Lad's been 7.33 Trinity scoring the whole season. Trending high sevens. Just below the trend line too. So there's still some meat on the bone. I'm definitely fine buying into that Chargers offense and betting on the comeback. We talked about it all offseason too. Like, it was probably the cheapest that we've been able to get into a Herbert, and now you can see that train is leaving the station. So feels like a nice time to jump on, get rid of Olave, Roschon, and package up Stroud, get him out of there, and just get into Ladd and Herbert. I think I'm going to take the Chargers side of this and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, get upgrades at both positions, and all you got to pay for, all you got to add is a Roschon Johnson. Come on now.
Come on. People like that Roschon, Gabe. There's a lot of hope there. Cash me out, 14 team, start 11, Superflex, PPR, a 0.75 tight end premium. We've got a team that fell out of contention, Gabe. So again, 0.75 tight end premium, 14 team, start 11. JT Sanders or Jameis Dub Winston. Jameis is living his moment right now. He got his NFL films moment in the snow, flying out, battery hanging out of his helmet. It was a fun time on Thursday. But JT Sanders has been looking great as a rookie tight end, which you don't usually get to say. If you're on a team that's not trying to win, I mean, what is the motivation to even keep Jameis on the roster? So I'd be willing to sell, and if I get JT Sanders at a 14 by 11.75 tight end premium, pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think this could go both ways because if I'm a contending team too, I'd be happy to send away JT Sanders for Jameis Winston. I mean, it's a 14 team, man. Those quarterbacks,
Yes, they
quarterbacks
do.
a little scarce in those 14 team super flex leagues, and so I'm okay with getting Jameis Winston, man. I'm okay with getting Jameis Winston for JT Sanders. So again, this is for me a purely directional trade, and so I'm good with either. I'm good with this either way. I mean, you don't really have much at tight end. I mean, Schultz is, he's good, but Parkinson's,
Yeah, not a lot there. But I agree. 14 team, especially if I'm competing. Yeah, like if I'm flush at tight end, I can trade a tight end and not really worry about it. So let me get the quarterback starts in a market where it's hard to get a quarterback for less than a second, right? Unless you're digging in the Tommy Cutlet, Cooper Rush type range. So I don't mind it from both directions. I mean, I'm just looking at the Trinity chart here, Gabe. Again, Carolina's offense, you got to kind of take it as a grain of salt. I'll go like weeks 4 through 17. I think that's when like Andy Dalton took over and the offense started to look like an offense again, finally in the 2024 season. JT Sanders, 4.49, right? So as a tight end, like it's not horrible, but
I mean, it's not great, but yeah,
it's not great. But for a rookie tight end, like to be like a consistent second to third option in the offense, like I don't hate that, right? So I do think there's a lot of runway with JT Sanders. I think this is a good deal kind of both ways. If I'm trying to win, I want Jameis in a 14 team. If I'm trying to get points off, sure, just give me JT. I'll figure it out because looks like JT's will be probably your tight end one going forward. So yeah. Cool. We got to check in on A-Rich, Gabe. 12 team start 10, super flex, 4-point passing touchdown. A-Rich or Trevor Lawrence, my friend?
God almighty. This is a stinky trade both ways. This is a stinky trade both ways. Oh man. I'm not bought into Anthony Richardson. I feel like I think Ray talked about it on one of the shows where it's like the perfect opportunity to buy and the perfect opportunity to sell right now. It's kind of like they both meet where people are bought back in, and then there's still people that are like, I'm not in. And so there's opportunities to go both ways. I'm definitely more on this is your opportunity to sell Anthony Richardson and just re-roll. You can get a first for him right now. I'll take the chances and I'll just re-roll and figure it out. Assuming he keeps that job and assuming he keeps doing what he's doing, you can always buy back in later. And we've talked about that before. If you got to pay an extra second or so later on down the line to buy back in, I'd rather do that. That being said, Trevor Lawrence has not been good either. Not been good either, man.
No.
I'll tell you this, Ty. The only reason why I'm going to side with Trevor Lawrence is I think they get a new head coach this upcoming year. And he's got a massive contract.
Contract, yeah. No.
I mean, it doesn't mean much. I know, but at the end of the day, like he just got paid and he's going to be the quarterback. At least for the next year or so. And so I feel like that is worth something, but I don't love it.
Have we heard much on Trevor Lawrence's injury, if he's going to be coming back after the bye week, or like what is happening there?
No,
I'm
anything.
frantically typing on X, Gabe, and I haven't really heard much. But again, it feels like a team, again, one of those Jacksonville Jaguar teams that I don't know the motivations, but if you don't feel great about the head coach and you're unhappy as a player, like what's the motivation to really go out there and, grit it out in some pain to go and play it? But I'm not an NFL player, so I can't really answer that. But, 4-point passing touchdown league, Anthony Richardson, I can see why. And I mean, some people still really like A-Rich, Gabe. Like it's true.
Oh, yeah.
And, know your league, and if you feel you can get more for one of these quarterbacks than the other, cool. I've talked a lot about A-Rich on pole position, so if you want to listen to those past shows, again, ddfantasyfootball.com/trades, get in the door. But you're gonna have to use that code GOAT, trade GOATs. and you'll get the pre-recorded everything there. But Trevor Lawrence, put it this way: if he doesn't play, I might just want A-Rich. But if I'm playing the Dynasty game and I want to bet on a quarterback talent, I think I'm with you, Gabe. Give me T-Law. Give me hopefully a new situation next year. And maybe I can score more. But A-Rich is going to put up points. He's going to have weeks. You have to choose if you want to roll with those punches or not.
I just don't even know, man, if the Colts are bought into him. That's the problem. Like, I don't even know if the Colts are bought into him. Jacksonville, for what it's worth, I mean, they're bought into Trevor Lawrence to some degree, to some extent. Anthony Richardson is only starting right now because Joe Flacco was awful.
I mean, they put out that press release too, saying like, "Oh, we hope that this is a wake up call for him and he takes it more seriously." It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't think Anthony Richardson is the starter right now. If Joe Flacco puts up half decent numbers, I really believe that.
Yeah.
They benched him for a reason, and they had to do something because it just wasn't pretty with Joe Flacco.
No, was not. Gabe, let's we have a couple more I want to get to here. So back to T. Sanford once more. 14 teams start 11 PPR, 0.15 point per carry, 2-point tight end premium, 0.5 rushing first down, 0.25 wide receivers. Everyone's scoring points. We got Shane, who's in 5th with a 72% chance to make the playoffs. T is in 9th with a 12% chance, according to Dynasty Daddy. So Sanford sends away Mike Evans, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown. And T gets into Malik Neighbors, Noah Fant, Bretton Strange, and Devon Achane. So this is a spicy one.
This is a good one.
Gabe, I mean, I'll tell you this. I am A.J. Brown truther numero uno, if not number one of the first ones to join the party at least.
That depends on that depends on what you say next. Are you really the number one truther, depending on what you say next?
Even if I'm on a rebuilding roster, like, I'm not just trying to give up A.J. Brown. If I don't think my playoff chances are there, unless I'm getting a nice plus, like, I'm probably just going to lean A.J. Brown. Love me some Malik Neighbors. Maybe this is probably really spicy. I'm fine to cross that. If I'm trying to win, definitely give me A.J. Brown. I can see why you might want to get into Malik Neighbors as a rebuilder. Just give me A.J. Brown, and just give me A.J. Brown over Malik Neighbors, Gabe.
Those are some air horns right there. Those are the air horns.
Let me feed myself some air horns. Give me A.J. Brown over Malik Neighbors. I've seen A.J. Brown do it. He is the alpha. He is the omega. Neighbors is dope, but I need to see it from the New York Giants before I prop him up there.
Yeah, man. So if you were to be redrafting right now, are you taking Malik Neighbors or are you taking A.J. Brown in a startup?
You know I'm taking A.J. Brown. There's never a question. Okay. I'm taking A.J. Brown, man.
I like that. I like that. I like the conviction. Yeah. I just had to ask, right? I mean, again, I think you're probably in, or I guess because I think I'm right there with you. I think we are kind of in the minority with that. I feel like a lot of people would prefer Malik Neighbors, but I just see A.J. Brown do it year after year, man. He's good. He is good. And there is probably a world where, sure, maybe in a rebuilding team, I can understand getting into Malik Neighbors over A.J. Brown. I believe that. I do think the situation could get drastically better for Malik Neighbors, depending on who is the quarterback. I don't think that's going to be this year. But to Terrell's point, like, if you don't need those points, then that's okay. So I'm good with crossing both of those off, even though I know in the comment section right now, somebody's like, why would you ever take A.J. Brown over Malik Neighbors? But the reality is I think they're a lot closer than people probably give it credit for.
I'm just looking at Trinity right now, and I mean, like, for this year,
I think he's number one, right?
I mean, I know A.J. Brown was number one. I don't know if he still is, but I know he was. He has 8.75 for the season, actually below the trend line, interestingly enough.
That's wild.
But I mean, Malik Neighbors, for all things considered, like, he has been used like you need for a wide receiver one. He's 8.39 on the season. So again, this isn't a anti-Malik Neighbors take. This is I am so biased and just I like AJ Brown enough that I'm willing to prop him up. And there's certain players I think you need, like you said, conviction. You just got to have conviction sometimes and put a player on top. And I'm putting AJ Brown in a different category than Malik Neighbors right now for me. So I'll take AJ Brown, but I'm happy to cross that off in a certain context.
Yeah, I love that.
So Gabe, Saquon Barkley and Mike Evans, or Achane, Fant, and Strange. So how do you break that down?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I want Saquon Barkley over Devon Achane.
Yeah.
So then
like context agnostic, you want Barkley over Achane?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually talking with Scott not too long ago, and he made a comment to me that kind of resonated with me a little bit, that the age of the running back really doesn't matter when you're trading in between running backs. Just they all get injured the same. I mean, you look at it in small windows, and so it's like, just give me the guy who's producing better. Saquon is incredible. I mean, incredible. And in this Philadelphia offense, he's going to be there for the foreseeable future, and I want a part of that. Like, I do want a part of that. I feel like he's really elevated this team. And again, Devon Achane has too in his own right. But I want Saquon, man. Like, I think he is going to be just incredible for years to come. So I think that's another one where pick your side, but I'm going to lean Saquon. I think, it's pretty much format agnostic.
Yeah. I mean, for everything you just said, like I definitely agree with you. If I'm sitting there at what was Sanford? He's ninth place, 12% chance. Do I want to take the bet on a 23-year-old running back or a 27-year-old running back? Like you said, like for the game that we play, it probably shouldn't matter, but it is going to matter to some managers. And if I'm looking at like flippability, tradability, and trying to extend my runway now, trying to get more ways out. If I've shopped Barkley, I know the only way I can really get some from is a big deal like this. Sure, I'll do that in a vacuum. I'll take Barkley,
Yeah.
But that's mostly because I think I can do something with him, and he's going to score me a lot of points. So,
see, and I think for me, like another big thing is that a lot of people just have touted Devon Achane as just a small, injury-prone running back. I mean, and so that's always going to be the consensus for him, regardless. I mean, he could go out and smash for the next year or two, but the second that he gets injured again, it's like, I told you, he was small. He's constantly been injured, though, to be fair. And again, everybody gets injured, so I don't want to kind of like label him as that, but that's the reality. Is I feel like that is something that you also have to take in mind. Like, sure, we look at it as he's 23, Barkley's 27, 28, but Barkley's outproducing him right now despite being older.
Yeah.
And arguably, and not even arguably, he is in a much better offense.
Yes. Yeah, I can't argue with you there. So, I mean, look at the rest of this deal again. A 2-point tight end premium. Fant and Strange or Mike Evans?
I mean, come on. I want Mike Evans, dude.
Yeah.
I get it. I do, but I just...
You're not getting anything for Fant or Strange on the market. Like, you really aren't. Even in a 2.0 tight end premium league.
Correct. And that's my thing. Like, it almost feels not like a free Mike Evans, because he technically did give up Noah Fant, which I do like Noah Fant, but this is as cheap as you can get, in my opinion. And Shane is getting the better producers all three ways. He's getting the better running back. He's getting the better wide receiver production wise. And he's getting Mike Evans, who's a much better producer too than Noah Fant and Brenton Strange.
Yeah. Like, if I can wrap my mind around my boy T. Sanford's brain, he's saying, okay, I'm getting off a 27-year-old wide receiver for a 21-year-old wide receiver in the same tier. I'm getting off a 27-year-old running back for a 23-year-old running back that I see in the same tier. And I'm moving off a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver for 2 tight ends in the format. I can see how you got there, but I don't know. It just doesn't always come down to age. I think, I still want Brown, Barkley, and Evans, but this especially, Gabe, if this is a deal that takes your pick from currently 104 to 102 or 101, that's enough. That definitely makes up for any kind of quote unquote free Mike Evans we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I definitely don't want to discredit that. I definitely would agree with that. If that moves your pick up 2-3 spots, then absolutely.
Now, is there other ways that you can accomplish that? Yes. Can you maximize things? Yes. But, I'm still going to take the Shane side of this package, but this is a spicy one. So let us know. You want Mike Evans, Barkley, and A.J. Brown, or do you want Neighbors, Achane, Fant, and Strange people? Let us know. Oh, Gabe, I think we have one more in us, don't we?
Oh, dude, let's do it, man.
Okay, we got wow. We got a bunch from
We
Diaz.
got a lot of trades in there. I love that.
Lot of Diaz. Oh
Love
my
that.
God, we got Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, wow, Odunze, Otten, Pacheco. A lot of good deals, but this one is catching my eye right here. A lot of names we already kind of talked about, but 12 teams, start 12, Superflex, PPR. So it looks like, is that 2-point tight end premium and a 4-point passing touchdown? This was on pole position, I think. Ayo. Contending team sitting number 3, trying to stay afloat after the Dak Lawrence went down. Going for the chip and giving up Rice for Dobbins was the price I had to pay. Still number 2 in team value, though, on the old Dynasty daddy. So JC1 gets into Rashee Rice, CeeDee Lamb, Trevor Lawrence, and a 2025 third. Dio gets into Kyler Murray, J.K. Dobbins, Nico Collins, and a 25 second. Gabe, I can tell you this did happen during pole position. You know why? Because I was talking about CeeDee Lamb for Nico Collins pivots. So
I love that.
I've been on record saying that CeeDee Lamb to Nico Collins at this point, that is a swap I'm willing to make. If I'm in a contending context and I want to bet on what wide receiver I'm thinking is going to bring me more points right now, I'll sacrifice some of that, whatever, insulated dynasty future value, whatever you want to call it, from CeeDee Lamb. I'll do that for the Nico Collins. I don't know if you feel any differently there to start.
No, man. Again, I mean, I really like CeeDee Lamb, and I think he's going to be just fine. But he is going to be a little capped for the rest of the year without Dak, and so I'm fine to take Nico Collins. For me, it's 1-for-1. Like, I'm good either way. You choose. Take your pick.
Yeah. And then you got Kyler Murray, J.K. Dobbins in a second, or Lawrence Rice in a third. So, again, we talked about Lawrence. If he plays, that's one thing. If he doesn't play, that's a whole other. Rice, we know what he is at this point. I'm just going to value him at a first until proven otherwise. You get a second and a third swap, so you get the upgrade at the pick. I want Kyler well over Lawrence right now. I think that more than makes up the gap between Rice and J.K. Dobbins, especially if you maximize J.K. Dobbins in your lineup right now. Capture all that war, good or bad, and just roll with it. I definitely want the Murray, Dobbins, Collins and a second side, but I can't get into a Rice, a Lamb, a Lawrence, and a third.
Yeah, I mean, I want Kyler well above Trevor Lawrence. And so for me, man, like this is not close. I mean, this is not close for me. I to your point, if you're valuing Rashee Rice as a first, Trevor Lawrence in a first for Kyler Murray, which side do you want? That seems pretty fair, in my opinion. Like that,
it's probably fair. Like I don't know if I'm attaching a liquid first to Tila to make that happen, but I might. And if I can get that done with Rice, like I might just do that. So yeah, that's probably the price.
Yeah. So then that would leave J.K. Dobbins in a second for a third. I mean,
give me the bell cow. Give me the bell cow Dobbins there.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah,
shout out to Dobbins, man, the bionic man, coming back from all these injuries, just having a time. Good for him.
Shout out to Chase. Shout out to Chase, wherever you're at, Chase, because we've been riding the Dobbins train for forever. We still held out hope, and now he's finally doing what we wanted him to do 15 years ago.
Yeah. Chase, I know you're not watching this, but I hope you and Cody are doing well. Perfect. Yeah, no, Dio, that's a good one to end us off. And we went a little long for the people, but this is a good show. So, Gabe, tell the people where they can find you online. Got anything coming up this weekend, buddy? What you got going on?
Oh, man. This weekend, just getting ready for Thanksgiving. Got to go grocery shopping, grab some stuff for the family, and then we'll be heading to Houston to spend some time with the family. And yeah, I mean, that's what we've got going on this weekend. And so you guys can find me on X at igabe_ff. We're again, and then in the Heisman tier Discord, you can always find us in there chatting away. And so by all means, we'd love to have you guys in there. I know you have something big coming up, man. So tell the people what you've got going on.
I'm going to Mexico to celebrate my parents' retirement trip. So I'm going to come back a little more tan, a little more relaxed. I'm looking really forward to it. But Gabe, this is a fun one. If you're listening this far, you found this actionable, entertaining, somewhere in between, please, all I ask, hit the like, hit subscribe, give us a comment, let us know what you think. We do appreciate every watch, every listen. Thank you so much. If you want to be a part of the crew, be part of the best place in Dynasty Fantasy Football, ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code TRADES, get you in the door on the all-conference tier, 50% off at sign-up. Use code TRADEGOATS, get 50% at sign-up. But the GOAT tier gets access to everything. Underdog, use code ALLGAS, get 1,000 at sign-up and bonus cash. Just get in there, do it, have fun. Again, week 12. We're so close to the fantasy playoffs. We're rolling. Trade deadlines around the corner. Get it done. Have fun. Get the deals. Get rid of your Trevor Lawrences and get into your Kylers. Like, there's deals to be done here still. A lot of directional deals to be had. So have fun. Take care. Enjoy your Thanksgiving to all my American friends. And we out of this thing. Peace.